Welcome to the 37th episode of the Nordic Sports News Podcast, the world's first daily cross-country ski and biathlon podcast with the latest news from around the globe. Today's topics are Biathlon World Cup in Östersund, Cross-Country Skiing World Cup in Lillehammer, and also the race report and results from the IBU Cup in Sjusjøen. At the first men's relay of the Biathlon World Cup season, Norway marked its territory with a win, the French team finished second and the Russian team completed the podium in third place. Norway team was untouchable in the relay today. Even the last-minute absence of Sturla Holm Legried, ill and replaced at short notice by Sivert Guttormbakken, did not upset the plans of Siegfried Mazet. Fast on skis and accurate on the shooting range, the Scandinavian quartet, completed by brothers Bo and Vidal Sjøstad Christensen, were never in danger this Saturday afternoon in Östersund. Imperials, the biathletes never let go, missing only 4 targets and 8 passes on the shooting mat. Behind, the skimming was quick to take place. First, from the first shot, Pepe Femling Sweden turned on the penalty ring. Then, during the second stint, France of Emilion Jacquelin and Germany of Roman Rees let go. Flawless, Johannes Thingsbo then cracked Ukraine and Russia to give Vidal Sjøstad Christensen a lot of leeway, who was going to raise his arms, as in Pokljuka during the last Worlds. It is also the 16th consecutive relay podium for the Norwegians, who have won 10. Meanwhile, the French team, with Simon Desthu, 30 since yesterday, and Quentin Fillon-Maillet, started the first to move up from 6th to 2nd place thanks to the clean shooting of the Jurassian. Russia, which cracked on Edward Latipov's last shot, was third ahead of Germany, Ukraine, Belarus, Sweden, Italy, Switzerland, and Romania. In the women's side, Olsbu Roiseland was victorious in Östersund pursuit. Norway's Marte Olsbu Roiseland came out of the last standing stage in this afternoon's Östersund women's 10 km pursuit a half-second behind Austria's Lisa Theresa Hauser and then turned on her patented blazing last loop, skiing to her first win of the season in 32 minutes and 20 seconds, after just a single penalty. Anaïs Biscond of France shot clean to take second place, 4.8 seconds back, while her teammate Anaïs Chevalier-Boucher, with one penalty, finished third, 7 seconds back. Hauser shot clean but finished fourth, 7.9 seconds back. The first pursuit of the season got away under slightly better conditions than Thursday's sprints, with the temperature at -7 degrees Celsius, very light snow falling and a very light breeze on the range. Hauser, wearing yellow for the first time in her career, led, as well as starting first in a pursuit for the first time ever, led the pack through the first 2 km loop, with Elvira and Solo about 5 seconds back. Hauser cleaned the first prone while both of her rivals went to the penalty loop. Chevalier-Boucher matched to leave second but 18 seconds back, while Elvira was 25 seconds farther back in third, and Olsbu Roiseland back at 35 seconds. By the 2.8 km split, the two chasers had closed the gap to 10 seconds. By the second prone stage, Elvira and Chevalier-Boucher were side by side with the leader. Hauser cleaned slowly but first, with her rivals matching and closing the gap a couple of seconds back. Olsbu Roiseland, after a strong second loop, did the same, moving up to 20 seconds out of the lead along with Hannah, after also cleaning on her shoulder in fifth. Elvira flew out of the stadium after the second prone stage, taking the lead with Chevalier-Boucher behind her, leaving Hauser 13.3 seconds back at the 4.8 km split. The leader continued to pull away, piling up a 12.8 seconds lead by the first standing stage. She missed twice and Chevalier-Boucher once, while Hauser cleaned to move back into the top spot, with a 19 seconds lead over the Chevalier-Boucher and Olsbu Roiseland, Hannah, and Biscond at 25 seconds back. Hauser continued to lead, but Elvira moved up to third. By the time they entered the stadium for the last standing stage, the Norwegian and Biscond were on Hauser's shoulder, with Hannah and Elvira just behind. The last standing stage would be decisive, with a half-dozen women in contention. Hauser, as well as Olsbu Roiseland and Chevalier-Boucher, cleaned simultaneously, heading out for the last loop with Biscond 6 seconds back. With 1,200 meters to go, the Norwegian was in control with 6 seconds on Chevalier-Boucher and Biscond next. Olsbu Roiseland blasted down the final hill, easily taking the win. Biscond, with her first podium in almost 2 years, held on for second with Chevalier-Boucher, edging Hauser for the last spot on the podium. At the IBU Cup in Sjusjøen, Femsteinovik and Babakov win the mass start 60. Fresh snow covering the tracks, 60 men were ready to take on the mass start 60 competition in Sjusjøen, Norway. One penalty from the first prone, Russia's Anton Babakov makes it a golden double, claiming the 15 km competition win in 41 minutes and 33 seconds. On the women's side, Norway's Ragnhild Femsteinovik delivered the shiniest result, with one standing penalty, She finished in 40 minutes and 21 seconds, taking the women's win. After Babakov's win, it was time to fight for the rest of the 2 podium places. In total of 2 misses for Arlen Bjørnegard of Norway, who claimed the second place, 23.8 seconds back. 2 penalties also for Remy Brudier of France, who with 49.3 seconds back finished in third. Babakov showed that he is in a very good shape in yesterday's sprint and would compete for the highest step of the podium today. Cleaning the first prone gave him an advantage, leaving 5 seconds ahead of Germany's Justus Strello and 5.9 seconds ahead of Bjørnegard. Bjørnegard didn't let that intimidate him and closed the gap with Babakov by the start of the second prone. Arriving at the range side by side, both men missed once, but as Babakov shot faster, he took an 8.5 seconds lead over Bjørnegard. Bjørnegard, however, losing time with his penalty allowed David Zobel of Germany to climb to second after cleaning the second prone. Starting the first standing in that exact order, Babakov was the one to close all 5 targets while Zobel earned 2 penalties, and Bjørnegard won. From this moment on, Babakov held a strong more than 20-second lead for the rest of the competition. After a confident 0 in the second standing, it was clear that Babakov was the one to take the win home. Although Bjørnegard cleaned the last standing, Babakov was too far ahead. Babakov took the win while Bjørnegard came in second, 23.8 seconds back. 26th after 2 penalties in the first prone, not much was expected from the 21-year-old Brudier. Who his chance was yet to come. Learning from his mistakes, the French athlete closed all 5 targets in the second prone, moving to 14th. Pulling off another 0 in the first standing stage, Brudier found himself 6th. As all the other closest competitors started collecting penalties, Brudier knew that he needed to pull off another 0 to compete for the podium. Succeeding, he left the last standing stage in third. Having a more than 10-second advantage in front of Germany's Lukas Fratscher, who was 4th after the last shooting, Brudier came in third for his first ever IBU Cup podium. Lukas Fratscher of Germany, with 2 penalties, finished 4th. Norway's André Stroheimsheim, despite 6 penalties, came in 5th. After 5 penalties, David Zobel of Germany completed the flower ceremony group by placing 6th. Women's competition. 10.6 seconds behind the winning Femstinovic, Anastasia Shevchenko of Russia missed once in the final standing bout to finish second, 10.6 seconds back. Paula Botet of France, with 1 penalty, added another third place to her collection, finishing 22.4 seconds back. While the men's competition had an early lead, the women's competition offered more excitement and possible turns. After the first prone, it was Austria's Katharina Innerhofer who managed to close the targets the fastest, leaving the range in the lead. Femstinovic was 4th, 5.4 seconds behind. After again a clean prone, Innerhofer kept her lead while Femstinovic, also closing all targets, climbed up a spot to 4th. After the Austrian picked up 2 standing penalties, the lead changed. As other competitors picked up penalties as well, Femstinovic held her concentration and pulled off another round of 0. Shevchenko, also closing all targets until now, placed second, 2.2 seconds behind the Norwegian. Arriving at the last standing side by side, Shevchenko and Femstinovic both missed once, leaving the tension to build until the very end. Femstinovic, the faster shooter, completed the shooting and the penalty loop faster, leaving the range 7.8 seconds ahead of Shevchenko. Widening the gap even more, Femstinovic was first to arrive at the finish line to collect her first ever win. While Femstinovic and Shevchenko dueled for the win, Botet kept herself in the game as well. Closing all the targets in the 2 prones, Botet arrived at the first standing stage in 6th. Despite 1 penalty, she left the shooting range in 4th, just behind Germany's Marianne Wiesentsarter. The German earned another penalty in the last standing while Botet cleaned, entering the final loop in 3rd, holding it for the last spot of the podium. Ekaterina Noskova of Russia collected 3 penalties in 4th, 28 seconds behind. Germany's Maren Hammerschmidt, with 2 penalties, finished 5th. Caroline Erdal of Norway took 6th place, with 1 penalty. Now, let's check the duels at the Lillehammer Cross-Country Skiing World Cup. At the women's race, the Swedish Frida Karlsson once again succeeded in this individual cross-country ski skate in Lillehammer. The 22-year-old Swede edged Therese Johaug by 0.3 seconds. What an incredible fight once again between Frida Karlsson and Therese Johaug. In this individual cross-country ski skate, it was impossible to predict who would win between the Scandinavians. The 2 rivals exchanged leader positions throughout the race. The Norwegian, at home, was even ahead, 200 meters from the finish. But the final was better from the green bib of best youngster, winning by 0.3 of a second over the Olympic champion. Already dominating in the classic individual in Ruka last weekend, Frida Karlsson did once again. This is the third victory for the Swede in her World Cup career, who at the same time takes over the yellow bib from her compatriot Maja Dahlqvist. Behind, the fight was also very intense for third place. It was finally the American Rosie Brennan. And to wrap up our news, let's check the men's race. In Ruka, Simon Hagstad Kruger finished 74th in the 15 km classic in the cross-country World Cup. A week later, he won the individual skate in Lillehammer, signing a magnificent comeback. It is true that the format suits him perfectly. At the Olympic Games in Pyeongchang, South Korea, in 2018, he won the silver medal, just like at the last Worlds in Oberstdorf, Germany. At the microphone of the NRK, he confides to be worried after the laborious opening weekend of the season. There was something wrong, he added. The most frustrating thing for him, he confesses again, was that he felt in good shape. But the site never really suited him. On TV too, the coach of the Norwegian team almost laughs. Ivo Niskanen said it well to Ruka, Simon Kruger always goes like shit to Ruka, then he wins the next race. I was rather of his opinion then and I still agree with this analysis. In the standings, Simon Hagstad Kruger was just ahead of his compatriot Hans Christer Holland, 1.6 seconds better. It's clear that I should have gone 2 seconds faster, but I gave what I could and I'm very happy with the race. Very relieved really. I'm very happy to get a podium in this race, said the latter. Norway have monopolized the top three with Martin Løvstrøm Nyengud in third place, ahead of Didrik Tonseth, Harold Eastberg Amundsen, and Havard Mosby. As for Johannes Høsflot Klæbo, 12th the day after his victory in the sprint on Friday, he announced to return to his hotel where he will decide whether or not he will take the start of the relay on Sunday. And that's all for today, folks. Stay tuned and subscribe to our channels on YouTube, Spotify and Instagram. Just type Nordic Sports News on these platforms and access our content. Thank you so much and see you tomorrow in the next episode. Information credits to Nordic Mag, NRK and Biathlon World.